With today's advancement in wireless technologies, has a wireless system caught up with a traditional wired system?
I have a good idea. Since we have the Hegel 120 and now the Evoke 20 that we are going to be reviewing soon, why don't we just do a separate comparison video in the future? Because surprisingly, just luckily, it's the same price.
Kurt, that's the best idea you've ever had!
I know.
The DALI Rubicon series is a blend of the amplifier tech from the Callisto range and the wireless audio transmission from the DALI Sound Hub. This is the award-winning Rubicon 2C. Featuring a 250 watt amplifier in each speaker, on paper these are pretty impressive. But as you have seen on this channel, how do they stand up to our listening? Let's find out. Welcome to Hi-Fi. I'm Marcos, this is Kurt, and today we're looking at the DALI Rubicon 2C wireless speaker system. The DALI Rubicon 2Cs feature 250 watts of Class D amplification per speaker, a 29mm soft dome tweeter, a 6.5-inch wood fiber cone woofer. They come finished in a walnut veneer, a high gloss white or black as well. Paired with the DALI Sound Hub, the setup is really easy. Using the Blue OS app, you just simply connect it to your home network through the application, and it's up and going. It pairs automatically with the speakers.
All the inputs which are included has Bluetooth, coax, optical, an RCA, and a 3.5mm stereo jack, both a sub out and pre-outs as well.
Finish-wise, I really like the Rubicon 2C. It's really easy to place it in smaller spaces, even larger spaces, they'll just blend in. I brought the Rubicon 2Cs at home and I placed them on my credenza and just hid away the Sound Hub to listen to. And it was really a clean setup.
The overall finish on the speaker, I think, is quite well done. It's a mix of a traditional, more modern design. I do want to tell everybody that the grills, just looking at it, you can feel it. It's a little bit thicker material. It was designed with the grills on. I know a lot of DALI speakers in the past. You can see when they did their measurements and they tuned it, it was keeping in mind that the grills would be placed on. One of DALI's claim to fame in their driver production is called SMC. I don't want to get too technical about it. Whole idea is it reduces distortion and increases the agility of the driver. And this is something that when you feel listening, I really hear it, because it sounds the way the speaker kind of throws the sound out. It's quite unique.
One thing I really like about the Rubicon 2Cs as well is the volume indicator at the bottom of the cabinet here, which is nice. If you hide away the Sound Hub, you can always tell what volume you're playing at. The overall performance of the Rubicon 2C did not disappoint. I really like them. On the upper frequencies, it was really nice, really well detailed, open and airy. I found it had a nice presentation to it. And when it comes to the bass, like a lot of DALI speakers, they really shine. I found it to be really agile, really controlled, and just had this amazing impact as well.
It is slightly a little bit exaggerated, and probably that's why you like it so much. The overall balance of the speaker is really good. Yeah, like I said, maybe a little bit elevated. Like I know, slightly elevated bass. Partly that's due to our room to it as well. The top end is quite smooth. It definitely comes off as a little bit more warmer sounding than a lot of speakers that I'm quite used to from DALI. Maybe it's just the amplification. And in terms of the soundstage, it's nice. It's more, I find it quite a little more level within the speakers. One thing I did find with the way it stages, it layers quite well. And from what I can hear, it seems like they've really blended in the tweeter and the woofer. I think phasing wise, they must have done this through the DSP, because it's really got this really smooth band, like frequency band on there, and you can't really hear the distinction, the separation between your tweeters and the mid bass driver.
We did our classic volume test with the Rubicon 2Cs. At around 60 decibel conversation level, I found the bass was really nice and present, still impactful. With the speaker being a little bit warmer, I did find that it had a little bit less detail on the top end, but overall still filled the room really well.
So at the lower volume listening, I feel the same way. The one thing I say is the bass dynamics at a very low level performed very well. So if you have this hooked up to your TV or listening to music, the one thing sometimes you hear is like, oh, there's just a lot of times when you play something at a low level at nighttime, the volume, the amount of impact on the bass might not just be enough. In this, you surely can still hear it.
Listening to the Rubicon 2Cs at a higher volume level, around 80 decibels, I found they really came to life. The bass felt it right in my chest, really nice impact, really well articulated as well. When it came to the mids and the higher frequencies, I found they were really pleasant to listen to. They weren't harsh on the ears at all.
At the higher volume listening, I found that when we reached kind of really maxes out in the 83, 84 decibels in the higher range, but that's running music that's full range with heavy bass. One thing I really noticed, yes, the bass is a little bit exaggerated, especially in the mid bass. Even when we did a quick measurement on there, it is. However, I'm not sure what it is, but I don't know, maybe it's that SMC they're doing. But it seems like the bass just throws it out into the room. It just releases into this room and it creates this really impactful sound. And because it's so agile, when you turn it up to those loud levels, it really creates this cool, dynamic, rhythmic feeling while listening to it.
It did sound really energetic. When we decided to push the Rubicon 2Cs, we hit a max of 90 decibels. These speakers have a lot of power, and you can definitely push them. We did notice, though, at that volume level, the speaker started to distort a little bit.
Also remember that it's at 13 feet away, and 90 dBs at about 13 feet away is pretty impressive, especially at full range.
Especially a bookshelf.
Yeah.
When it came to listening to the Rubicon 2Cs, we listened to a wide variety of tracks. Two tracks that really stood out. Marsh Otopos was the first track. Really energetic song. What I loved about it with these speakers, the bass is incredibly impactful. I love the bass out of these. When they would hit, I was just completely energized, really sucked into the song. I really like that the bass, it has a big initial impact and then it just draws you in.
When it came to this track, especially what I noticed in the speakers is the layering. It was layered very well. There's some kind of neat sound in there. I honestly, there's all synthesized sound. I don't know really what it is. One of them was sound like ripping a paper. What was really neat is just between the center of the speaker to the right of the speaker, you can clearly hear it's like somebody is sitting there just ripping, and it created this illusion in the soundstage that they're just tearing this paper every once in a while. And then they had this kind of synthesized organ in the back, and what was neat is you can clearly hear that just like how an organ would be a background in a normal organ. It was sitting quite far, and because the speaker just layers really well, They just did an excellent job in that respect. And the one thing is the bass. How they would record this, they would have this kind of mid-bass thing that was quite impactful, that was more in the middle of the center stage. And then when the bass would almost kind of like a bass drop, or the resonance that come after the bass, it would just come in quite low and then just fill up into the rest of the stage, which it takes quite a good system to really get that feeling. And I was surprised to hear it in this.
So I guess overall with that track, sounds like they do a pretty good job at ripping up a phone book.
Okay.
The second track we listened to was Jan Arden, Insensitive, a live performance. When I listened to this recording, I felt like I was right in the front row of that concert. I could hear the guitarist and the bass player almost plucking their strings. The bass drivers are very impactful. So it felt like there was an impact every time they would pluck the strings. It was really well detailed as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Because usually when you're listening to a lot of systems, especially if it's a live recording, there isn't enough impact on the strings, and especially just depending on where it's mic'd. But in this case, you're right. You can one thing that you can know that you can really hear that. Another thing is, again, that layering that I talked about in the last track. The system did a very good job. When I was listening to the guitarist, you can really hear that it wasn't localized right where the speakers, or right in front of the speakers. They were sitting there inwards, right in the middle of where Jan Arden is. And what's neat is, Jan Arden is local here, and she lives here. I got to listen to her I've listened to her a couple times already live. She's usually quite spread out on the stage. And this live recording, you really get a sense of that spread with the guitar, and also even the sense of depth, because behind her they were playing I think it's a mandolin, but they were playing that in the back, and what you can hear is her voice, and you can hear someone playing that mandolin right behind her. In a lot of systems, what would happen is they would sound together. In this case, you can actually hear further away from Jan Arden.
At the start of that track as well, you can hear the audience clapping. It felt like they were all around me, like I was part of that audience. The Rubicon 2Cs are a very flexible speaker. They will work in anywhere from a small room to a large room. They're very impactful, so in a large room, at a sub, you'll have a really nice 2-channel system. The one thing I really like about this is very minimalistic. So all you need is this and a phone or tablet computer device to control your music, and you're off to the races.
Because it has Blue OS, it's just good user experience, because Blue OS is one of the better ones in our market. So for those that just really don't want to kind of fuss with just different components and not think about it, this is the perfect solution.
One thing I really love about Blue Sound as well, you can connect it multi-room with other Blue Sound products, such as their nodes and power nodes. So you can have a really nice system in your living room, and in your bedroom, you can have their little speakers as well. Thanks for watching our video today. If you have any questions or anything you'd like us to review, please leave a note in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.